Welcome to Wednesday, June 14th of the Daily Antidote of Song. I'm Jaden, I'm hosting today, and it's so good to see everybody's faces, and thanks to everybody watching on the live stream. Everybody in the room, can you help me give a big wave? Hey there, thanks for tuning in. And thank you everybody in the Zoom room for being here today. And let's just get started. Hello, Joe Rossi, who is tuning in from the car. Thanks for being here. And thank you, Joe Jencks, for being our song leader for today. Can't wait to hear what you have for us. And hello to Kevin in DC. Good to see you. Hello, Dory and Ollie in Rhode Island. Mabel and Two Bears in Massachusetts. Good seeing you. And hello, Deborah in Kentucky. Welcome, Helen Wintraub. Thanks for joining today. And Deli in Silver Spring. Good to see you. Dan in Vienna. Hello to Jim in New York City. Susan in Cincinnati, Ohio. Hi, Hoda in BC. Good seeing you. Hello, Sheila in Florida and Cricket in Maryland. Hi, Kate in Charlottesville and Arlene in Berkeley and in Nashville. Good to see you. Robbie Greenberg, thank you for joining today. Kim Wallach in New Hampshire, who is also a Daily Antidote song leader. Thanks for joining today. And Bob Gaser, thanks for joining. Hello, Bonnie in Boise, good to see you. Carolyn, who's usually in Boise, is in Victoria, BC. Welcome. Hello, Karen in Oregon, good to see you. And Susan in Seattle. Hello to Storm, welcome, and Sarah in Texas. Ruth and Clive in Birmingham, UK, somewhere outdoors, looking very lovely. And Linda on Orcas Island, and Kathy Glatz, thanks for joining, and Kat in Vermont, Curly Tops, Don and Liana, oh, and one curly top behind you, good to see you in Vermont, and Trish in Victoria, BC, good to see you. Hello, Nancy in the Irish Cow. Bob is out in Massachusetts, thanks for joining, and Harriet in Chicago, thank you for being here. And Aloysius in Massachusetts. Kate, thanks for joining. Bronwyn in Victoria, BC. Jenny in Suffolk, UK. Hello. Hi, Dick and Kathy in Victoria, BC. Leah in Illinois. Hello. Carol in Connecticut. Caroline in DC, thanks for joining today. And Moon in Alexandria, Virginia. Thank you for being here. Loriana, Katrina, and Courtney, welcome. Suzanne in Maryland, glad you're here today. And Anne in Silver Spring, thank you for being here. So I think that's everybody, and it's wonderful to see you all today. And today we have Joe Jencks leading us in song. And how are you doing today, Joe?
I am doing fine. I'm in the middle of a lot of touring, and so I'm home for just about 36 hours.
Oh, wow.
But I'm delighted to be here and see all of you and be making music with all of you. I will own that I set up fairly quickly this morning, and I was reflecting on the very first time that I sang for the Daily Antidote song pretty early in the pandemic, and like just how like freaked out I was about making sure everything was right. And like I rolled into the studio like 15 minutes before airtime, and I'm like, oh, this pre-flight checklist, all good to go. Hey, Jaden, how are you?
Yeah,
Like it was just I was delighting in how comfortable I think I have become, and we have collectively become, with different paradigms of accomplishing the same goal, which is being in community together in beautiful ways. And I'm so grateful for that.
I'm grateful too, and I'm sure everybody is. It was a very efficient sound check today, just so everybody knows. It's very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So I first off, I am wearing my Labor Notes Pride shirt, Troublemakers Pride. Anybody who knows the Labor Notes community, this was a shirt that they did last year, I think, for the first time. And so honoring that. And this first song that I have to sing, I'll just teach you the chorus, and then maybe we'll sing the song, and then I'll tell you a little bit about it. But the chorus is this. It's one I sang here a few years ago, so some of you may remember it, but it just felt appropriate to the moment. And some of you may never have heard it. All the better. The chorus is, do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile. Do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. And do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. And do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile. We'll try that once more together. Do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile. As I was walking down the only road I knew, I came upon a place where that one road turned to two. I took the one that seemed less worn. I did the best I could, till I happened on a wise man all alone out in the woods. He looked at me a moment, he looked up at the sky, he turned as if about to speak, but all he did was sigh. So I ventured forth the question, I said, surely you must know, will the road that I now travel take me where I want to go? Do it for the power. He said, do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile. I still had some questions I thought might clear the air. I turned around to ask and found he was no longer there. I thought maybe this was God I saw as I got down on my knees. But soon enough I heard my answer in the wind blowing through the trees, and it said, do it for the power. It said, do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile. Many moons have come and gone, now and then I go astray, but I come back to the path, 'cause for me it's the only way. Well, I do not have much money, but I find I have more time to seek the answers that I need in the eyes of those I find. They say, do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile for the power. Do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What a joy.
Thank you, Joe. That was completely beautiful. So can you tell us a little bit about this song? Why you want to sing it today?
I will. Here with the Daily Antidote, a song this whole month, we're thinking about three things in particular. Juneteenth and its significance in the world and parallel and related themes. Pride, again, the shirt I'm wearing, the Labor Notes Pride shirt. Very proud of this one. It's a beautiful shirt. Union made. Woohoo. And we're thinking about Father's Day. And I know that for some people this is a challenging time. There are many feelings and many memories about those that raised us or maybe didn't as well as they could have. But we all find mentors. We all find people in the world that help show us how to be. And I was blessed enough to have a father who was very much one of those people for me. By no means the only one. I'm the youngest in a family of 7 children, and all of my siblings were each in their own way influencers in my life, and my mom as well, and aunts and uncles and people in the community. But my dad was just a really stalwart, gentle, central figure in my life, whose presence was not thoroughly understood until it was gone. He died when I was 19. I did CPR on him, and he died in my arms. And there's a line in the musical Wicked, one of the most beautiful songs from that musical, and it's just this beautiful turn of phrase. Who can say, if I have been changed for the better, that I have been changed for good? And you'll just have to trust me that in the context of that musical, that one line is phenomenal in its lyric brilliance and the threads, different threads that it weaves together into a common chord. Who can say if I've been changed for the better, but I have been changed for good? And being present with my dad in that way at the end of his life was something that changed me for good. Everything was different. It's a line of demarcation beyond which my entire life was different. And it was a sacred moment. It was a painful moment at the time, but it was a sacred moment. And I was raised Catholic and I was taught about the communion of saints, but I very immediately just parked my dad in the communion of saints. He was one of my personal saints. He was one of my personal ancestral guides and guardian angels and people that would look out for me in my own consciousness and my own thought process as I related to the world. And I have this picture that I took a few years before he passed of us hiking on a trail down in the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas. And he's just paused on the trail with one leg up on a stump, kind of looking over his shoulder at me like, hey, kid, you coming? Let's go. You know, like just this gentle enthusiasm, like, quit dallying, boy, we're wasting daylight. You know,
Yeah.
I have always seen him ahead of me on the trail as someone who wasn't forcing an agenda on me. He was just present, and I could look ahead and see him there. Just, I don't know, 30 or 40 paces in front of me. Just anytime I got lost on the trail, I could look up and see that he was still hiking in front of me somewhere up there. And that became a little metaphoric, and I was going through hard times several years later. I was living in Seattle, and I wrote the song Stream of Consciousness while moving out of an apartment after a breakup, and like everything was falling apart. And I laid my head down and kind of fell asleep, and I'd wake up just for a minute and scribble the stream of consciousness thoughts that were coming to me in this liminal state between consciousness and unconsciousness on a legal pad. And the whole time I had this image of me and my dad out on that trail in the Ozarks. And I woke up the next morning after not enough sleep because I was sleeping in a folding chair and leaning on a table. With a legal pad for my pillow. And I looked at the legal pad and went, I wrote that? wow. Like, it was just
Oh
this
my
moment
gosh.
of like, how did that song come out in between my visiting the dreamscape as I was going through all this?
Yeah.
But it really was just, um, it represents to me a connection with my understanding of the nurturing that I associate with fatherhood. And I get that isn't everybody's experience. But I
Mm.
was super blessed to have somebody who was just that gentle presence in my life. And for the 19 years that he was in my life, I was so grateful. And I recognized that in the spirit of Dia de los Muertos, as we honor ancestors and honor those that have come before, that gets to be every day of my life if I want it to, that I don't have to wait for one day a year to ask the ancestors for their wisdom, that I get to do that every day of the year if I need it. So in that spirit, I'm going to play another song for you that I wrote while hanging out on the banks of the Edisto River in South Carolina, the longest blackwater river in the world. And those of you that are deep down the rabbit hole of ethnomusicology or certain facets of regional history, I beg you not to hold my feet to the fire on this because I have done only the most minimal research. But after emancipation was declared and before it was a real thing, there are many places, the Barrier Islands, for instance, all up and down the southeastern seaboard, where people went in order to be present in community with each other and separate from the dominant white culture of the time, while a new paradigm was sort of sorting itself out. And the watershed for the Edisto River is one of those places. So phenomenally ancient in its feel, like when you're swimming in this water, it was new for me. I grew up around the Great Lakes, so you can see through the water to what's around you. Black water, by the time your hand is in up to your wrist, you can't see your fingers anymore. It's the tannins from the cypress trees that all have their legs in the water, and it's clean. You can drink it as is. It's incredibly pure water. They don't allow motorboats on that. It's the wind powered, like the fan powered boats, or electric motors only, just to keep the pristine nature of the watershed. And it's all fascinating. It's really fascinating. But I had no idea where I was headed when I went to a retreat down there, and ended up in this place that just lifted out of me ancient feelings and thoughts. And then I started to dig into the history and realized why it had been a place of refuge for so many people, especially around the time of emancipation. So I speak to that only peripherally and invite you to look deeper into that history and offer you this song that is in part my perspective and in part the perspective of an elder that I met on this retreat who had grown up along the banks of this river, and she was into her early 90s at the time. So it's called Edisto. I will also note that I just finished this song a couple weeks ago while I was at the Kerrville Festival. I hit the pause button on it for 4 years, and I finally picked it back up and finished it. So you are among the very first people to be hearing this song ever. Black water rises and falls with the summer rain, flowing through this cypress swamp, it eases my pain. Spanish moss is hanging from the crepe myrtle tree, but here for just a little. I'm just gonna do that again because, modeling that mistakes are okay in the world. Brand new song. Black water rises and... Well, I'm just making all kinds of mistakes. I guess I'm modeling well today. Black water rises and falls with the summer rain, flowing through this cypress swamp, it eases my pain. Spanish moss is hanging from the crepe myrtle trees. There is something ancient in the air that I breathe. Edisto, oh, I long to go and let the waters wash my worries away. This life is hard, but I remember feeling free when I was cradled in the arms of the Edisto. Sing that with me one more time, Edisto. Edisto. Oh, you know I long to go and let the waters wash my worries away. This life is hard, but I remember feeling free when I was cradled in the arms of the Edisto. These living waters keep calling out my name, and I have been baptized in their mysteries untamed. Serenity is fleeting in the life that I lead, but here for just a little while I have everything I need. Edisto, Edisto. Don't you know I long to go and let the waters wash my worries away. This life is hard, but I remember feeling free when I was cradled in the arms of the Edisto. When reality comes crashing down around me, there's a place that I go to in my mind, a cabin by the river, hummingbirds and roses. A sweeter place on earth is hard to find, but this is where I leave it all behind. Edisto. Don't you know I long to go and let the waters wash my worries away. This life is hard, but I remember feeling free when I was cradled in the arms of the Edisto, Edisto, Edisto. Oh, you know I long to go and let the waters wash my worries away. This life is hard, but I remember feeling free when I was cradled in the arms of the Edisto. When I was cradled in the arms of the Edisto. Thank you. Nice to sing that for people again. It's, like I said, it's a brand new song. And I think it's not just, for me, it's not just about the Edisto or that particular watershed. All of us have some place that we have been to in our lives that evokes something within our hearts, within our spirits, something ancient, and for us, something sacred by whatever terms we define that for ourselves. And so maybe it's a lake in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, or a particular mountain pass out in the mountains outside of Boise, Idaho. It could be some little place you went to on Cape Cod or up in Maine, or, in the mountains in California, or, whatever. Like, all of us have been somewhere. Canada, Mexico, Hawaii, overseas somewhere. We've all been someplace that elicited from within us that sense of, like, wow, I am walking on nature's holy ground, and I am privileged to be here. And so I hope that song evokes a little bit of that for you, just a sense of reminding ourselves maybe that in the midst of our busy lives, that connecting with nature is of sublime importance to our own wellness, however we get there. So what a treat to be with you today. I'm going to switch instruments and go back, and maybe we can close up with singing the chorus of the first song I sang a couple of times for the singing. But Jaden, are there any announcements that need to be made, or any questions you have, or anything we need to speak to here today to community?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think I don't think we, you know what, we do have some announcements. We have a community sing coming up on June 21st, so keep an eye out for that. Um, Otherwise, I think that's about it. And yeah, just thank you for the two beautiful song offerings that you've given us today, Joe. Um, they've both been completely beautiful, and can't wait to sing again. So that's
Thank
it.
you, Jaden. Thanks for hosting today. What a delight to see your beaming face in the morning. I normally pry myself out of bed about 10 a.m., which is 11 a.m. Where you are. So, I was still kind of finding, consciousness in all of its many forms when we logged on. And it is such a delight to start any day I get to with a daily Antidote song. This is such a gentle and joyful community spread across oceans and continents. And I am so glad to be welcome here. And I am so glad that you keep holding space for each other. That is a beautiful thing. Can somebody tell us, I don't have access to the chat, what day we're on? Last week it was like 11:54, so this has got to be like 11:61 or something, 11:62?
11.
11:65.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, beautiful, beautiful. 1,165 days consecutive that this program has been running. Thank you, Carpe Diem Arts. Thank you, Jaden. Thank you, Joe Rossi. Thanks to everybody who helps make this happen. What a beautiful thing. Let's sing a little bit more. Oh, I need a sip of coffee first. Pardon me.
Oh.
It's got to happen. All right. For the singing. Just sing this a few more times. Sorry, no, F is not the best key for flute, but thanks for giving it your best over there. I was singing the Edisto song. I was like, does anybody in here play cello? I want to hear cello on this song. But yeah, I wish you well and a lovely, lovely beginning to your summer. And whatever holidays you celebrate, whatever ancestors you honor, whatever nurturers touched you, I hope that you can hold them with gratitude. Do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing and you've gone the extra mile. Do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing and you've gone the extra mile. I'm having a little bit of squirrel brain this morning, so I'm having all kinds of thoughts. I'll share just a few of them with you and save you from some of the rest of them. But as I see all the little stuffies that are popping up on the screen at different places, I'm mindful that many of you would not know that I always travel with some Beanie Babies on my dashboard. And even when I'm flying, I have a couple of critters that hop in my backpack. In child psychology, there's this notion of transition objects for kids. You know, the blanket that goes from home to daycare and the toy from daycare that comes back home, and these little ritual objects that help us bridge the distance between different places and community and states of consciousness. And I'm reminded that, at different times in my life, it was less healthy. I used to be a cigarette smoker, and for a long time, tobacco was my transition object. But then, I was able to quit that habit, and I started traveling with stuffies all over the place as a healthier option. And so it just makes me happy when I hop on here and see those stuffies and recognize that it's never too old to be a kid. It's never too old to have, some toys and some friendly comfort in our lives. We are never too old for gentle and simple joy. And I see that the Daily Antidote song has become that transition piece for so many of us. that being here in community is a thing that helps us bridge the gap from one day to the next, from one challenge to the next, from one joyful experience to the next as we integrate all of these things. And it just delights me. So next time I'm on, I'll bring a couple of my stuffies to share. They're just sitting upstairs. Buddy's down here to say hi. That was one squirrel brain thought. There was another one that may have chased out, but you can support the Daily Antidote song, and I wanted to say that you can make contributions to Carpe Diem Arts specifically for the Daily Antidote song to help keep this program going. And, I know through this community, y'all have found ways to connect with each other and keep connecting, even though maybe the worst of the pandemic is over. There are all kinds of reasons why singing together and being together in community matters. So keep doing that. Oh, I remember the other squirrel brain thought that I had, which was that this song for the singing starts off with one person in the woods says, "He said, do it for the power." And the next verse is for me a little bit of earth honoring. And it says, it talks about nature. And it says, "It said, do it for the power." And then it lands squarely in community, what it is that we are for each other, and says, "And they say, do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing and you've gone the extra mile. They say do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave." Opus nice. "Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing." Do it for the singing every day right here on Daily Antidote Song, hosted by Carpe Diem Arts. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day.
Oh my goodness, Joe. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It needs to be said. Yeah.
You are very welcome. You are all little lights of joy burning in whatever place you live. And the joy that you find here, you share, and the joy that you find in the world, you bring here. It's a pretty virtuous circle.
Absolutely, it is. All right, I think we should, as Arne says, breathe that in.
Indeed.
Thank you, everybody, for being part of this and being part of our community. Thank you, everybody who watched on the live stream, for tuning in as you can. And thank you, everybody who was in the room today, for being here. Thank you again, Joe. So much gratitude for all that you bring. And thank you, Kathy, on Stolen Arapaho and Cheyenne Land, for being here with your two penguins, it looks like. Thank you, Anne in Silver Spring, for being here today. Thank you, Mama and Papa Curly Top. That's Don and Liana. And thank you, Fred, for being here. Thank you, Sarah in Texas, for joining today. Thanks, Kevin in DC, for being here. Good to see you, Dory and Ollie as well. Mabel and your two bears, thanks for joining. And Deborah in Kentucky, great to see you today. Helen Wintraub, thank you for being with us today. And Deli, thanks for joining. Susan in Ohio, thanks for being here. Hoda in BC, so lovely to see you. Cricket, thanks for joining with a really little cute stuffy that I can't tell what animal it is. And you don't know. Oh, it has a beaver. It's a beaver. No, it's not. Sorry. We'll get it. You should just tell. Okay, we don't know. That's okay. Arlene, thanks for joining. And Bob Gacy, thanks for joining. Bonnie, thank you for being here. Storm, lovely to see you, and your Stuffy as well. Linda, thanks for joining. Pat, awesome zebra with an awesome poof of hair. Nancy and the Irish Cow, thanks for being here today. The upstairs curly top, I think I missed you on the hello, so hello and goodbye, Willard. Thanks for being here. Susan Schreiber, thank you for joining today. And also Leah in Illinois, lovely to see you today. Annette in California, thanks for being here. Jamie and Victoria, thanks for joining. Anne in Nashville and your penguin, love to see it. Aloysius, thanks for joining today. Jane in Texas with a goose. Very nice. Awesome. And Bob out in Massachusetts, thanks for joining. Harriet, thank you for being here today. Karen in Oregon, great to see you. And Kate, thank you for joining. Jenny, thank you for being here today. Dick and Kathy, so glad you could join us. And Carol as well, thanks for being here. Caroline, glad you could be here today. Moon, thank you for joining. And Loriana, Kachina, and Courtney, thank you all for being here today. And thank you, of course, to Joe for being here, even though you're in the car and supporting us in all things. Have a beautiful rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.